Welcome to another episode of the Rise Up podcast, where we're all about empowering you to build a stronger, more resilient self. Today, we're diving into a topic that's at the heart of long-term success: the power of patience and careful planning. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to feel like we need instant results to be successful. But the truth is, rushing into big goals without preparation often sets us up for disappointment. Today, we'll explore why taking things slow and steady can actually be the smartest approach. And as always, for anyone who needs it, we've prepared a PDF transcript of this episode, which you can find in the description. In today's fast-paced world, it's common to feel like we need to succeed instantly. From business to personal goals, we're often impatient, expecting results overnight. Yet, if there's one secret that most successful people know, it's this: real success isn't about diving headfirst into every new idea without preparation. It's about building a thoughtful approach, staying patient, and figuring out how to manage the difficult parts before they become roadblocks. This approach may take longer, but it's proven to last. Let's take a closer look at why diving in too quickly can set us up for failure, and how taking a step-by-step approach leads to a stronger foundation for success. Why jumping in headfirst often leads to failure. Consider something simple, like switching to a healthier breakfast routine. You've done the research, you know what to eat, and you're ready to start. Maybe it's a breakfast of oats, fruit, and nuts that you've decided on. The first morning, though, you might oversleep or feel too tired to get everything ready. Just the thought of preparing a perfect breakfast can feel overwhelming when you're barely awake. It's easy to think that you're just not cut out for this, or that healthy eating is too hard. This is a classic example of what can go wrong when we try to make big changes too quickly. Our initial excitement carries us forward, but without a solid plan or a gradual approach, even the best intentions often fade. The problem isn't necessarily our motivation. It's the fact that real change is a process, one that requires a step-by-step plan rather than a big leap. The same idea applies to a variety of goals, from starting a new workout regimen to launching a business. Jumping in without preparation doesn't just make things harder. It almost guarantees that we'll encounter setbacks. And while setbacks are natural, they can be discouraging if we aren't equipped to deal with them. Success in any area comes down to our ability to navigate these challenges thoughtfully and patiently. Building success one small step at a time. So how can we approach big goals in a way that makes success more likely? The key is to start small. Going back to the healthy breakfast example, rather than trying to change your entire diet overnight, begin with just one change. Instead of overhauling every meal, start with breakfast. And instead of making that breakfast overly complex, try something manageable, like adding a handful of nuts or a piece of fruit alongside what you're already eating. This way, you're gradually adjusting rather than overwhelming yourself from day one. This strategy isn't just about food. It applies to any goal. Let's say you want to improve your fitness. Rather than trying to run 5 miles every day right away, start with a short walk or a 10-minute run. Once your body gets used to that, gradually increase the distance or time. You're building a habit slowly, allowing yourself to adapt both mentally and physically. This approach is sustainable because it respects the fact that big changes are easier to handle in small doses. In a way, starting small is like laying bricks for a house. Each brick may not seem like much on its own, but over time, they create a solid foundation that can weather storms and hold up the entire structure. When we take on too much too soon, we're trying to build without a foundation, and any minor obstacle can cause everything to crumble. The importance of identifying and overcoming specific challenges. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with achieving their goals is that they haven't anticipated the specific challenges they'll face. Every goal, whether it's adopting a new habit, starting a business, or pursuing a personal project, has its unique difficulties. Knowing what these challenges are in advance allows us to prepare and avoid potential setbacks. For instance, if your goal is to start a business, you might feel driven by the excitement of independence and financial success. But the reality of entrepreneurship is full of specific hurdles. Do you know how to market a product effectively? Can you handle customer service issues? What about managing finances? Each of these questions represent a potential obstacle that, if not addressed, could lead to setbacks down the road. Before jumping into any new venture, it's worth asking yourself, what will be the hardest part of achieving this goal? This might seem like a small step, but it's one that most people skip in their rush to get started. By identifying these sticking points up front, you can either prepare for them or even test solutions on a small scale before fully committing. Patience and consistency. The twin pillars of success. One thing that often goes unnoticed is how patience and consistency create the conditions for success. While it's natural to want immediate results, most meaningful achievements come slowly. People who succeed aren't necessarily the ones who start off the fastest. They're the ones who stay consistent and keep pushing forward, even when progress seems slow. Think about the process of learning a new skill, like playing an instrument or learning a language. Progress might be slow at first, and it's easy to get frustrated. Yet those who keep practicing, even if only a little each day, eventually improve. They achieve something valuable, not because they rushed to learn everything at once, but because they were willing to stick with it, accepting that mastery takes time. Consistency doesn't mean doing everything perfectly. It means showing up regularly and putting in the effort. By committing to a regular practice, even if it's just a small one, you create habits that reinforce your goals and make each step a little easier. Over time, these small, consistent actions add up to big changes. Real-world examples. Applying this approach to different goals. To put this into perspective, let's look at a few examples of how starting small and staying consistent can lead to success in various areas. 1. Healthy eating. Changing your entire diet can feel overwhelming, especially if it involves giving up favorite foods. Instead of an all-or-nothing approach, try adding a healthy snack or a nutritious side to your regular meals. Over time, you might find it easier to replace less healthy options as you get used to the new foods. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about progress. Each small, healthy choice builds on the next, creating a pattern that's sustainable. 2. Building a business. If you're thinking about starting a business, there's a lot to learn. Instead of diving in fully, take time to research and develop specific skills, like sales, customer service, and marketing. You might even consider working part-time in a similar industry to gain insights. This approach gives you a sense of the challenges you'll face, and by gaining hands-on experience, you'll be more prepared to succeed when you do launch. 3. Weight loss. Weight loss is one of the most common goals, yet also one of the most challenging. Rather than adopting a restrictive diet that's hard to maintain, consider reducing portion sizes gradually. Try cutting back a little each day, maybe skip a few bites, or reduce certain portions. This approach is often more sustainable than going on an extreme diet that's hard to stick with long-term. 4. Skill development. Learning a new skill, like coding or painting, can be intimidating. Rather than aiming to immediately, start with the basics. Focus on practicing one small element at a time, like simple exercises or easy projects. As you get comfortable, move on to more complex tasks. This way, you're building a skill set gradually, making it easier to retain what you learn. Success takes time, but it's worth it. The beauty of taking a gradual approach is that it allows you to enjoy the journey without constantly feeling like you're falling short. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to keep going. Each small victory along the way reinforces your commitment, helping you stay motivated. So the next time you set a new goal, remember, don't rush. Identify the obstacles, start small, and give yourself time to adapt. Real success isn't about quick fixes. It's about building habits, overcoming challenges, and staying patient enough to see things through. Taking it slow may feel counterintuitive, but in the long run, it's the most effective way to achieve meaningful, lasting success. That wraps up today's episode of the Rise Up podcast. I hope this discussion has given you some new insights into how patience, planning, and consistency can make a real difference in achieving your goals. Remember, success doesn't come from rushing. It comes from steady progress and a willingness to tackle challenges one step at a time. If you'd like to revisit any part of this episode or share it with someone, the full transcript is available as a PDF in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, keep rising up.